Alright, hey, Shalom. I want to begin by giving all glory and praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rechakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect. And Shalom to all the Akim pushing this truth with sincerity. It's your brother Itazwan from the GMS Columbus branch coming back again with another video through the Spirit. Lord's will it be edifying. And pretty much just want to do a quick TV review, all right, on the episode of Black Mirror, in particular, season 2, I believe episode 1, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it the last episode, maybe? But it's entitled White Christmas. Okay, and real quick, I'm going to read the summary of this episode. It says, 3 interconnected tales of technology run amok during the Christmas season are told by 2 men at a remote outpost in a frozen wilderness. And I recommend all Akim to watch, this episode, Black Mirror on Netflix. And a lot of brothers already hip to it. I believe the apostles are already into it, if I'm not mistaken. But it shows you the motb for one, the micro C-hip, okay? But, not only that, it shows the chaotic, demonic, just cruel and inhumane side of how if Esau is able to put a microchip in you, he would just do all types of manner of wickedness, all types of manner of torture mentally, and just completely enslave humanity as a whole. And pretty much, man, this was a trippy ass episode, man. It really threw me for a loop, because I'm just now getting into Black Mirror. I watched a few episodes, I believe majority of the recent season that just came out on accident. I meant to start from the top, but I'm just starting from the top. And man, it was one of them, if you know anything about Black Mirror, it's pretty much a TV series, comprised of short movies of different fucked up scenarios, some in the future, well, majority in this futuristic type state of the world, just different scenarios, etc. Okay, but like I said, this episode, it keyed in on the motb, okay, how all human beings were interconnected to pretty much an AI conscious, so to speak. Okay, you had this situation where you had 2 individuals who were pretty much brought on trial for different things. The one, ultimately was, in this what can you call it? Man, this pretty much just like they pretty much were able to control the mind to where you were in a different realm or digital realm that seemed physical. Okay, and you had like I said, 2 guys fighting this trial, or 2 different trials or different situations via the government and just police and all that. And the one, man, it's complicated to explain it, but pretty much, the one guy made a deal to break a case concerning the other guy. But in both events, they pretty much confessed, things they did in the world that got them in that situation. Whole time the guys, were confessing. The one guy who had a different motive to try to get out of jail time, etc. He wind up, decoding the other guy to help the police force. So he pretty much made a deal, with his superiors, etc., to get out of the situation that he had went through. All right, I'm not gonna go into the explanation of the situations, what, the scenarios were concerning each individual. But I wanted to just touch upon, pretty much the power that was given to the authorities based upon, how they seen fit to judge these individuals via this microchip. And so pretty much, like I said, they were all interconnected to this database. All right. So they pretty much all had the motb. All right. And like I said, a futuristic world, where, like I said, everyone's interconnected to this one conscious, or, however you want to put it. So, at the end of the day, both the guys who committed these offenses were faced with different punishments. Okay, and they kind of screwed the one guy over who helped them break the other guy. All right. And so, dealing with the MOTB in this case, all right, this system could take photos via your mind. I mean, just all types of stuff. And pretty much, once you were blocked, etc., because of this chip, they would have like this foggy presence. So you had a situation where the man's wife blocked him, because she was cheating on him. She was convicted about having a baby with another man. But and like I said, you really just gotta watch the episode. But just to summarize, and get to the point where I'm trying to get at concerning, the situation in Black Mirror episode 2, or so like season 2, I believe it may be episode 4 or episode 1. I'm not for sure, but it's entitled White Christmas. Pretty much that MOTB gave Esau a God complex that is just, like I said, just completely demonic. Now, like I said, just dealing with the punishments that these men were able to face, because they had this micro C hip in them. The one guy, because of his offenses, he ultimately was free to roam the earth, but he was blocked by all humanity. So no one could see him because, this MOTB is interconnected with the brain. So it deals with their vision, etc. So no one could see him, and he could see no one either. And he had to spend the rest of his days like that. And for the other individual who had committed, an offense, which, his offense was like, man, shit, he had every right to feel how he felt, whatever. But dealing with that man, they had it to where, he was in his artificial realm, within his mind, to where this man, every minute felt like 1,000 years. And it was just this recurring time lapse of the same event of him trying to destroy this radio over and over again. And he was just stuck in his bubble. And like I said, every minute he spent, in the physical was 1,000 years of captivity in his mind, where he thought he really was. So that was the power, or the God complex, that MOTB, granted, those who possess the power over it. You see? And like I said, man, that's the whole deal concerning this MOTB, the micro C hip. Real quick, let's just jump to it. I'm going to get this Isaiah 14 as well. And Salakia, from all over the place, but I just wanted to, give an overview of what the scenario was and how we connect these things to modern day, all right, concerning this Edomite who was seeking for that blessing, for that God complex, in the earth, you see. And we're able to decode these things via the scriptures and based upon characteristics that this man has, and ultimately what this man is trying to accomplish in the earth, dealing with it, NWO, etc., and his MOTB, the AI, him interconnecting all humanity together will give him exactly that. And with that, he'll be able to accomplish things, such as what happened in Black Mirror season 2, I believe episode 4. Just gonna say episode 4, but in particular, the episode called White Christmas, where he can, artificially torture and artificially plague your mind via this C-hip, man. All right, this C-hip is not just something that's gonna help society in the sense of convenience. All right, no one can steal your car now. No one can hack you, and it'll be easier in and out of getting groceries. And then this man is gonna use this motb to completely torture your mind, your conscience, etc. Like I said, man, they had it to where every minute this man spent in the physical realm, it was 1,000 years every minute, man, that man spent in an artificial, like I said, artificial physical realm in his mind. It was bugged out. I'm like, what the fuck? And this man was so it was the individual, this man. Like I said, this is all at the end of the episode. Like I said, the one man got blocked. Just imagine that. You got the C-hip, and like I said, because this thing is interconnected with your brain, or connected with your brain, your eyes, your limbs, etc. He just hit the kill switch on you, and you can't see anyone. Everything is like a static fog. Every human being is like a static fog, and you're like a static fog to everyone else. And this man had to live out all his days like that. No relationships, no connections, no just in the world, but not linked to it at all. Okay? Then the other individual, you had the man at the end who was like, man, I'm about to turn. They had this digital meter where they could like brain fuck you, to where, like I said, the man just, he gauged it to where, or set it to where, every minute that man spent in the physical realm, it was 1,000 years in his mind. Complete torture, man. And he had to, pretty much ponder upon and relive the situation that landed him in the authorities' hands in the first place. And they had an option to just turn him off or turn it off, and but the woman came in, and she was like, what are you doing? He's like, man, I'm setting for every minute that he spends in here, I'm gonna make it 1,000 years in his mind. And he was like, or should I just turn it off? The woman's like, nah, keep him awake for Christmas. I'm like, man. So like I said, it just showed this recurring event where he just bugged out, stressed out his mind. Just imagine that. We understand ultimately, the Heavenly Father, he's able to do, bugged out, trippy things like that. But see, Edom wants that power and authority where he could just constantly torture you mentally and plague you in these weird, like I said, these weird, inhumane ways, man. It was fucking me up. Like, this is what Esau would accomplish if, his NWO would be successful. This is the type of things that this man will be able to possess, and the things that he is trying to possess. They don't make these shows and movies for no reason. Like I said, Salaki, I'm ranting, but I just gotta speak my peace through the spirit, because, man. But Salaki, it's been 14 minutes, so let me bring a precept out. This is Revelation 13 and 15. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, right? And that he is speaking of Esau, Edom. When you go up prior, it speaks about the red dragon, or the dragon, etc. The beast, which ultimately ties into Rome, okay? And who and what nation came out of Rome? The Edomites, okay? The Edomites, see? It all ties in. But see, this is the power they will be able to possess having this mark. They will have power over your livelihood. All right, how you buy, sell, whether you eat, etc. And like I said, going further, linking that episode to the motb, because that's ultimately what it was. They had a brain chip, all right, and like this small like pocket dot that was like interconnected with it, and it's like had camera and like all types of widgets and all that, to choose from, whatever